Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Highlight Basketball Podcast. My name is Dolos, and this is episode 4. I appreciate everyone listening to this podcast on the amazing Off the Ball Network. Shout out to the network for letting me do my thing on this show. I'm going to definitely get back to having guests on here. So it's not just me talking to you when the actual season begins. So team specific, if you want specific people, if you want specific teams covered in these future podcast episodes, definitely reply in the YouTube video comments. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're listening as a podcast, you can definitely still leave comments on podcast, I believe, or reviews. So leave it in the reviews, any suggestions for future episodes, what you want to see covered, who you'd like to see me cover it with. But anyway, getting into the actual themes for this episode, I'm going to make it quick. This one's going to be a shorter episode, but there are a few things in the news that I want to touch on. The first of, this is the smaller one. It's not really going to dominate the episode. Rob Pelinka got an extension with the Lakers for 4 years. He's now signed through 2026. My thoughts on this: I'm not the biggest Rob Pelinka supporter in the world. I give him more credit than I think some other Lakers fans do. For instance, a lot of people don't really like to give him any credit for 2020 when the Lakers won the title, but I do think he responded well to not getting Kawhi, because they did land Danny Green. I think they signed JaVale. Either he was already on the roster and they retained him, or they signed him back, or they signed him. Bringing in Dwight Howard was controversial when it happened, and he was such a huge part of that team. He was big for their defense, and so I think he did well in response to that. But everything since then has been questionable. We've called into question his ability to land free agents. We've called into question his ability to get trades done, for one, and to get really good value when he does make trades. The Westbrook trade being really the biggest example of that. I don't think he had a good feel for where the team was. It'll forever bother me that since 2019, the Lakers' biggest issue with building that team around LeBron and then ultimately AD when they add him is that they never have really given these guys the proper space in the half court to dominate. And so in the wake of losing to the Suns in 2021, it was like, this team needs shooting, this team needs shooting, this team needs shooting. And then to go out and make a trade for Russell Westbrook, who I love. He's one of my favorite players all time, but it did not make sense. It does not make sense to have went and acquired Russell Westbrook when the biggest glaring issue on your team was providing your superstars more space in the half court. That bothers me so much to this day. And so for him to get an extension when we're still calling into question some of his abilities, I thought this was really going to be a make or break year for him. I never really was thinking strongly that Jeanie Buss would get rid of Rob Pelinka. I think he has a built-in advantage to staying with the team because the Lakers are so much of a mom and pop run organization. He has obvious ties to Laker legend Kobe Bryant, as his former agent. Just from a relationship standpoint, it's going to be weird for Jeanie to be in a position where she would have to fire Rob Pelinka. I understand that, but to say he deserved an extension, a 4-year extension at that, I don't know how we can say that's objectively judging his performance as GM. And this is coming from someone who was advocating for him to win GM of the year in 2020, like that non-relevant award. And hey, I was saying, hey, let's talk about Rob. But since then, like, there has not been that much to talk about on his behalf. And so it's weird to me that he got an extension. But I just wanted to go on a mini rant about that because I am a Lakers fan. I'm sure what you clicked in the title and in the thumbnail of this episode for is to hear me talk about the Draymond Green Jordan Poole incident. And man, the Warriors really tried to spin that on us. Like when the initial reporting came out, Draymond and Jordan Poole, there was some physical altercation. The team was considering suspending Draymond, and it was really just left at that. And then TMZ drops a bomb on us. They give us the footage of the punch, and it looks terrible. Draymond is getting all into Jordan Poole's face because he was at a good distance away, and it seems like they're just talking. Could just be regular trash talk. We don't know what's being said. There's no audio. And then Draymond drifts closer and closer. Poole gives him a shove because at that point he's literally right in Jordan Poole's face. And Dre clocks him, which is wild. It was wild to watch. And Draymond has since spoken on it. He said he watched that video 15 times. And he really said all the right things in his press conference. I do also really empathize with the idea that everyone's really made this seem like it's about money. It's a confirmation bias thing at this point. If you like Draymond or didn't like Draymond, you're already gonna believe what you're gonna believe. If you hated his guts and thought he was the worst and most annoying player in the world, then of course he hit Jordan Poole because he's jealous that Poole is gonna get a contract extension and he may not be in the team's priorities. Of course you think that. If you are someone who is a Draymond supporter, a fierce, loyal Golden State fan, then I'm sure you believe that it wasn't that, and this is something the team will easily get past. It's confirmation bias on both ends. I don't think anyone truly knows how this is going to play out. Other than Jordan Poole and the Warriors front office people, they have the best kind of insight on how everyone's feeling in all of this. They're the ones that are going to have to continue to try and do a contract extension with Jordan Poole. And that's one of the areas we're really going to see how upset is Poole about this. Because, Jordan Poole will likely still be in the sixth man role. I think taking a max extension or, close near max extension from the Warriors could be his best bet at guaranteed money. Because in a reduced role, there's a chance of regression, a chance of, just not being featured as significantly, a chance at injury, and not getting the payday that you expect to get in restricted free agency. And so I think it would be preferable for him to do that, of course, to sign an extension. If we don't see it get done, that to me tells me there might be hard feelings on Jordan Poole's end. If we do see an extension, I don't think that definitively closes the door on, problems and beef within the Golden State locker room, but it at least means that Jordan Poole is still wanting to lock up his future with the franchise. That's a good sign for them. And so what happens with those contract negotiations, I'm sure Woj and Shams and all the newsbreakers are paying fierce attention to now. I doubt Golden State will be letting any other leaks happen. They're going to tighten up security around that front office for sure. Which is another thing I kind of wanted to speak on, I guess, the whole leak thing. A lot of people, Golden State instantly said they're doing a serious investigation into who leaked this. I understand why they're upset. Not really the point. I think that misses the point. Weird to kind of focus on that because they were clearly trying to sweep this under the rug, let it not be an issue. And man, it looks worse than they were making it seem. So that just kind of it appears shady. It appears shady, and then it definitely appears shady. After you tried to sweep that under the rug, now it's okay, you were seriously investigating whoever this whistleblower was. I don't think that's a good look, just PR wise. But hey, that's what they're deciding to do. I doubt they'll ever reveal to us if they find that person. They're just probably going to quietly find some other reason to let them go. But hey, we'll see if anything comes from that investigation. we all really want to know, what is this impact going to be like on Golden State season? And that is so difficult to know because, everyone's already assumed that this has been contract related. Draymond in his press conference said that, hey, he was going through some other things and had a short temper that day and he lost it. Doesn't justify it. He's apologized. Like I said, he said all the right things. But if Jordan Poole is still bothered by this, like those guys are going to be in the same locker room. Their families will be around the same arena at the same games. This could really be an actual turning point for Draymond, for the Warriors. This could, seriously impact his career and how it plays out. Because up until a few years ago, like I really considered Draymond as a guy who would finish his career as a Warrior. I'm starting to doubt that more and more as the days go by, especially because I think it was notable that the front office didn't suspend him or flat out suspend him. He said he's stepping away from the team. Steve Kerr has said this is mutual, which tells me this isn't like a franchise imposed suspension. Although I would suspect there's some kind of fines at the very least for punching your teammate. This is still a workplace. There's got to be some kind of repercussions for that. But it doesn't look like they want to suspend him. And that immediately makes me think back to 2019. 2019, when Draymond got into it with Kevin Durant and they suspended Draymond and they were wanting him to apologize. And in podcasts that Draymond has done since, he has laid the blame on the front office and on Steve Kerr for the Durant split and saying that, hey, like you guys should have just let us internally resolve that, and the front office getting involved and trying to do some type of punishment and force an apology out of him was the real reason that the beef intensified. And so it's notable to me here that there's no suspension, and this is a mutual decision for Draymond to step away. And I'm not sure how long that actually is going to be. Like it sounds like he's just talking about stepping away for the preseason, because he even stated that he says he's going to be back for ring night, or at least he hopes or expects to be back for ring night. Poole's family, Dre's family, going to be in the same building, something he even spoke to. There's an elephant in the room now because of this situation. How do the people involved really feel about this? We're going to come to learn if and when Jordan Poole makes a statement on it. We're going to learn from the actual on-court chemistry. How are these guys, still cooperating and getting things done? And we're going to learn this when and if an extension gets done for Jordan Poole, because it's going to tell us so much. The Warriors project to be an historically expensive team. Stephen Curry already on a supermax, will be getting a supermax extension every time he asks for one from the Warriors. He's pretty much entitled to that at this point for his career. Klay Thompson, someone who's also, in the team's long-term future, I project. Andrew Wiggins, extension eligible. Jordan Poole, we also expect him to be getting extended. And then there are the three young guys, James Wiseman, Kuminga, and Moody. With those three, Wiseman sooner than the rest, will be needing extensions off of their rookie deals as, their other Hall of Famers start to age out of their deals. But those are going to likely be high value contracts if these players pan out the way you hope them to pan out. And if that's the case, this team is extremely expensive. And in that framework, where is the role for Draymond Green? Yes, I think there is somewhat of a reason for Dre to be insecure about his future with the team, if at all that was part of, what played into this. And even if it's not, that's something I'm just going to talk about regardless here, because I don't think it's guaranteed that he is a warrior for life the way we may have expected seasons ago. Uh, there is a legitimate argument that he's declined. Um, and so as an undersized player who could be declining, his main value that he truly brought was defense. His playmaking was solid, uh, above solid even at times. But offensively, like the regression that we've seen from his own individual offensive game, like if there's more of a decline in coming, there's solid argument to just try and let Kuminga develop into kind of offensively playing some of that role that Draymond had as a screener for Steph, seeing if they can build out some of the same chemistry while Draymond is still under contract there. Just helping the young guys, because that's something I firmly believe Draymond will do. At this point, he needs to remain the most professional he has ever been. Um, he has contract extensions and discussions going on too, and there is a microscope on Draymond Green right now. So I think we're getting the most well-behaved Draymond we've ever had before. And we're going to see how all of this plays out. I don't want to spend too much time speculating, because I in my heart of hearts, I think this is something we're going to need to just wait, see play out. I am probably going to be getting a Warriors fan analyst to come chat with me on this if we do get more actual news about something happening. But until then, thank you for listening to the Highlight Basketball Podcast. Like I said, this was going to be a shorter episode. I really only had those two big topics to touch on, but I still wanted to do an entire episode speaking on them. I appreciate you listening. Definitely give the show a review, give it 5 stars, like it on YouTube if you're watching on that format, and enjoy the rest of your day.